Hey, I'm Rob, and welcome to Understanding Upstate. It's the podcast dedicated to exploring what makes upstate New York such a unique place. Each week, my co-host Jim Search and I dive into a new upstate topic to better understand what's up upstate. And today we actually have a special interview for you speedy freaks with the proprietor of Binghamton's own stellar human, LaRue Simmons. Jim, on that note, you're fresh back from Binghamton. How was it? Want all the details. What's going on in the Bing?
Oh man, listen. Well, this might be a whole separate episode, Rob. We got a whole lot going on the 607, baby. Hell yeah. All right, so listen, yeah, I am just returned from upstate New York, the homeland, the foundation, Binghamton, New York. That's right. And you know, it was always a fun time. It's always fun to go back home. It's always great to see a couple familiar faces while I'm around there. So yeah, I'm going to start from the beginning of the trip, because even just that, right?
Port Authority.
Yep.
Right.
Port Authority, the South Beach of New York City. It's where the rich go to play. So I started off there, got on the bus Friday afternoon. Things are well. There's not a lot of people on the bus, which, if you're a veteran bus rider like myself, that is a blessing, to not have to sit next to anybody. You can recline. You don't got to worry about people's shit. Okay. So I'm riding on the bus, and behind me, I hear this guy on the phone, right? He is on the phone having a conversation with someone, and he is just talking about like the most like hood criminal activity that he's been involved in the entire time. Like, sure. So it's like, article mention of things he said was just like, yeah, I really don't like to fight if I've got it on me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I do actually. I know exactly what you're talking about. And he's like, yeah, I got a couple attempts on my record, but I haven't really gotten them off yet, And I'm like, holy shit. This guy's on some real criminal activity.
This resume is stacking up.
Yeah, he's really building it up. And then, so that happens, right? I get into Binghamton. I'm staying at a hotel there.
Is this the hotel that has the view of the bridge that we so delightfully saw in the rewrite? In the rewrite, yes. I was staying at the iconic Holiday Inn. It is the premier destination for those of you. Highly recommend. Shout out to you. They don't pay us for this, by the way. Not yet.
Not yet. Give it time. So I'm staying at the Holiday Inn, and I'm waiting to check in. I'm super early, whatever. I'm standing around the lobby, and like it's like 11:30 noon, and it's checkout. So like there's just like a swarm of people in the lobby. Now that swarm, you ask, Rob, that swarm is a group of high school cheerleaders, right? So it's just it's like 50 high school girls from all around New York State. They're all checking out of the hotel. Now, here's the thing, Rob.
I'm sure calm, cool, and collected is the vibe.
Yeah, totally chill. It's very, it's not, people aren't doing TikTok dances in the lobby or anything like that, which they were. But the thing that really dawned on me as like I'm standing in the lobby is like, yeah, there's all these high school girls walking around, is the optics. Rob, I'm a 42-year-old man. Sure. I do not have any children. I am just standing there, right? And I realized what this all looks like. And I almost just yelled. So I have a girlfriend, okay? And I love her. She is my age. So I am not a creep. I'm just waiting to check in. I am not just standing around this lobby like a real fucking jerk. Okay. So, and then eventually it just gets overwhelming. I throw my bags, in the bell closet or whatever. And I'm just like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm not doing this. And, I left the hotel. I, then went to, Peterson's, which is a lovely bar in downtown Binghamton. Shout out to Nate Giacomowitz and the crew over there. Very rad dudes. So I go over there. I run over there. I'm just like, I'm out. And go hang out there because now the parade has started. Now parade day has now in full swing. I kind of buried the lead there. Parade day is like, it's like the St. Patrick's Day parade a couple weeks early. So they do it like that. It's a bar crawl.
Peripheral St. Patrick's Day parades is not something I'd ever heard of before I got to New York. And the Binghamton one is like not the only St. Patrick's Day parade I've heard of that's not on St. Patrick's Day. Like in the neighborhood I live in, they do it like a week later.
Yeah.
Which
Scranton does one. I feel like Hoboken does one too. There's like these like smaller cities. And I think if memory serves, the reason they do them not on St. Patrick's Day is because like a lot of the bagpipes, crews, I guess, they all play in New York City on St. Patrick's Day. So like, they're like, let's just have this booze fest.
Let's have another excuse to drink.
Yep.
I guess
we're gonna tack 2 days in the month of March for us to become pure full on maniacs. So in any event, that all transpires. I'm at Peterson's. I'm just hanging out there, living my life, avoiding the high school cheerleaders as they're in the lobby.
As one does.
Yep, as one is wont to do. Run into my man Steele, not of Tuck and Steel.
I was gonna say, whoa.
No, it's not General Steele. It's Steele. Run into my guy Steele over at Peterson's. He buys a copy of my album Upstate Understandings on my way out.
Is there a link in the description for that album? Maybe.
There is.
You're going to have to click and find out.
Absolutely is. So yeah, my man Steele, as I'm heading out the door, he's just like, yo man, let me buy your album. I'm like, hell yeah. So shout out to you, Steele, for picking that up. So the parade is happening around my visit at Peterson's. I go outside. It's also raining. It's Binghamton. It's going to rain forever. So like, you know, I'm like, just like popping in and out, watching the parade, going back inside. I'm supposed to go meet up with all my friends, but here's the real sign of the time, Rob, is all my friends I was supposed to go meet up with, all of their kids had games at night games.
Who schedules a night game on the night of the parade? What are we doing, Binghamton?
I don't know, man. But like all of that to be said, that like all the people I was supposed to hang out with were just like, yeah, man, sorry, can't really like get drunk during the day because my kids have a game. So
reasonable.
Right. And that was a real like sign of the time that this might be one of my last parade days that I attend, and that like I don't really know anybody.
Jim, you got parades at home.
There's
parades at home.
There's parades at home, you know, in Brooklyn. There's other shit going on. Not to say that I won't be back in Binghamton, because you know I fuck with my Upstate. So anyway, so all of that's transpiring. I finally get back to the hotel. It's probably like 2:30, 3 o'clock. It's a little bit before check-in. I show up. I am definitely drinking at this point. I've been drinking all day. Before I go to leave Peterson's, I run into a couple people outside, and they're like, "Oh shit, it's you, Jim Search." I'm like, "What?" Like, what's up?
Co-host of Understanding Upstate, the podcast. You get recognized?
I think so. I think they like saw my face and knew my voice. And they're like, yo, when are you, how's comedy? You know, what's going on? You know, when are you doing a show again? I'm like, yeah, I'll be up like on the 23rd of March. They're like, yeah, I'm fucking going to go. That's Jordan, baby. I'm like, hell yeah. All right, let's do it. So a little plug.
Put that on the flyer.
Yep. Jordan will be there. So, you know, a little plug for the show over at Stellar Human, March 23rd. Then I get to the hotel. You know, I'm like, I can I check in? I know it's early, and they're like, we have a room for you. Like, hell yeah! So I go upstairs, immediately fall asleep because I had been drinking quite a bit. Wake up, I'm like, all right, so like, what am I gonna do? Where am I gonna go? What is the plan? So I bar hop down Clinton Street, right? Land at the Old Union Hotel. Right, that's my
been there.
Yep, there. You've seen it.
Had my first speedy there.
You know what it is. You know the vibes. So I'm in the Old Union Hotel, and I'm walking. You know, I see the owner, Adam. I shoot the shit with him, and then I hear someone go, "Gym search," and I go, "Yes," and she's like, "Hey, I just want to tell you, like." Da 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 da. My husband is a big fan of you.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, what? And she goes, he listens to your podcast.
What?
And I go, what? What is this? And she's like, yes, he's a big fan of you.
Wow.
Really loves your podcast. He loves Understanding Upstate.
I was gonna say you have a couple podcasts. I won't be offended if it's a different one. You got
a speedy freak, a real.
You got a speedy freak recognition in the wild.
Yeah, hell yeah!
Wow,
it was
shout
nuts.
out to. Did you get his first name? Can we shout him out? On air?
I think it's. I may have been drinking. It was Kyle. I think
Kyle.
Let's just go with Kyle. Shout out to you.
I just clipped my microphone with that.
Kyle, shout out to you, my man. You're the best. I hope I got your name right. We were drinking during the time. So
not only is Kyle a fan, but he talks about our podcast to his wife, and I think
that's huge.
That's a big compliment.
Hell yeah. So made my night. Yeah,
that just made my night. Oh my God.
So yeah, it was pretty major, man. It was pretty rad to actually, you know, because you know this, but like when you do a podcast, you just there's some days you feel like it's just into the ether and you're just talking into the universe. But listen,
sorry, Jim, I wasn't listening. What were you saying?
I saw what you did, you old such and such. So you know that, you know, those are some of the highlights of my trip to Binghamton. However, I will say, well, I wouldn't say however. In addition to those highlights, I got the opportunity to sit down with the owner of Stellar Human, LaRue Simmons, for a really dope interview where he told me all about his store, all about his love of vintage clothes, all the crazy stuff that he's doing over there. That's incredible. And he's really, really pushing some very, very cool stuff forward in Binghamton. And I got a chance to sit down and talk with him about that. So
awesome, Jim. Should we get to the interview?
Hell yeah. Let's jump right into it.
Let's do it.
We're here for the Understanding Upstate podcast.
In Upstate.
And we are Upstate. We are coming live from Stellar Human.
Yes, we are.
I kind of got ahead of my introduction here, but I'm very excited to have this guest on. I've been a fan of you for a while, and I really like what you're doing in the city I grew up in.
Wow.
Very great human. Dare I say a stellar human.
Yeah.
You saw what I did there.
I did.
Yeah. LaRue Simmons, owner of Stellar Human. How you doing, my friend?
Well, bro.
Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you for being here, man.
Yo, this is great. I'm really excited to talk with you. You know, like I said, I've been following you for a while. You're doing something very unique in Binghamton. And I think when it comes to like vintage clothing and just the aesthetic that you bring, it's not something that I've seen living around Binghamton in Binghamton. So just jumping right in.
Yeah.
What inspired you to bring Stellar Human to Binghamton?
Man, so I tell people, right, like I've always been into fashion. I tell people that the shop is the combination of my three biggest passions, which are fashion, music, and human connection.
Right.
Now, to be honest, man, the shop was never like, it wasn't like I was like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I was like, I'm going to own a store one day.
Right.
I really had no plan until can I curse?
Yeah, of course.
The shit just fell into my lap.
Right.
My house is not far from here.
Okay.
So I've been going by, seeing the space for lease, whatever. But before that, how Stellar Human came to be, so I'm in recovery. I've been sober a little over 5 years now.
Dope.
And so in the recovery rooms, AA rooms, right? And at meetings, we talk a lot about self-improvement, always wanting to be better. And I don't know if someone said Stellar Human in a meeting one day or where I heard it, but it just stuck to me.
Right.
It sounded cool. And I thought that would be like a dope to use as like a business name. I didn't know. I really didn't even know what I was going to use it for when I thought of it. But then my second soberversary came up, and my ex-partner LLC'd it for me.
Shit.
And I was like, well, damn. Like now you
kind of have to.
Yeah. It's like now
Right.
I have to do something with it.
So you get handed an LLC for Stellar Human.
Right.
So it's like, it sounds like the universe is essentially aligning you to do this, right?
You hit the nail on the head, man. Like I said, this was not a plan at all. It really all kind of just fell into my lap. Now this was like pre-COVID when I got the LLC. And then COVID came. And
So
by then though, I had realized that, opening a shop might be dope. Like I said, I've always been into fashion. I had been thrifting for probably a solid 3 or 4 years already, but as we'll get like vintage though, like vintage was not like a part of my vocabulary. My knowledge for it was very minimal. But like, so during COVID had hit, we had already acquired the space. We, like I said, we had been driving by. I saw the for lease sign, called the number, spoke to the landlord. He's like, yeah, come in and, we'll chat. I came in and I told him what my vision was for the shop. And, cause at first it was really a thrift store. I wanted to open a thrift store.
Sure.
Cause I knew that I had the ability to source and find things that other people would because I could always find things that I thought would look cool on other people. Like I'd find, a top that, that wouldn't work for me or wouldn't, might work more for someone who's more femme, or
Sure.
something that wouldn't fit me, but might fit somebody, a homie of mine. And I always had the ability to kind of see things and how they could or should be styled
Right.
before they were even, but anyway, getting back to getting the space. So I spoke to the landlord, told him what the vision was. He was like, a little apprehensive at first because, it's like you said, right? It's something that's kind of never, I wouldn't say, I guess the way that I'm doing it, no, but like it's been done before.
Sure.
But he didn't know.
There's been like vintage, or there's been like thrift stores.
Vintage, yeah.
Stuff.
He didn't know, right? So like, I tell him, if you let me do my thing, it's going to be something special. And so, like a couple of days go by, I get a call. My application for the lease was accepted.
Oh, dope.
So then this is like right when kind of COVID is kind of getting to its heights, right? And
like
so
2020.
Right. So we were in here during that entire year. I had friends. My ex-partner was in here. Like she was a big part of it all. I can't even she's done a lot with the birth of this place, and she really helped me, and a lot of my friends did too.
Sure.
Painting and building racks. I had a homie from like high school who we're close, and it's like, those homies that like you don't see for years, but then like you get back, right, get right back to it. And, and he was like, anything you need, man. And I told him, yeah, you want to help, because he's like a contractor. So he's like, I'm like, yeah, man, I need to build some racks. Mm-hmm. He's like, say no more. Came in, we built some racks. And so that entire year, 2020, we were in here working and getting all that stuff ready. I was still, sourcing when I could.
Right.
Finding cool stuff. And then 2021 came around, and, I kind of like blindly picked the grand opening, February 21st. Not really even thinking about it being Black History Month, which now I'm so grateful that I get to celebrate my anniversary of the shop during Black History Month. Like we just celebrated our 3rd year.
Yeah,
and
congratulations,
thank
man.
you, bro.
That's really dope.
And so, yeah, man, like it's business, and like I'm not a business-minded person,
right,
by any means. But I'm learning, learning as I go. I'm really just kind of running off of passion, and being able to have folks come in and find those things that like bring them joy. That's like
and that's And I feel like you read my mind, because that's a really great segue to like the next question I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Now, trust me, listeners and viewers, we didn't plan this out. This is an organic segue here. But my next question is like, what are some of like the memorable moments you've had of like selling items to people, and just those exchanges? Do you have any of those that
you're gonna make up? I'm an emotional guy. I can feel my eyes welling up already. So, one in particular was one of the first like moments that really really touched me. I had a young person come in who was transitioning from F to M, and they, you could tell that like their confidence was low.
Right.
But I was able to help them. Like, it turned out to be like their first outfit as a guy.
Oh, wow. That's fucking incredible, man.
Yeah. And so I got to watch them stand in front of that mirror and like just be wowed by themselves, and like really feel comfortable in their skin for the first time.
Right.
Probably not for the first time, but yeah, that for me was probably the most memorable. There's been many other ones too. I've had people come in who like have lost parents or grandparents, and they'll find a piece that was very similar to something that a loved one owned, or
wow, shit.
So having stuff like that happen really means a lot.
That's pretty dope, man. And I think like, and it kind of goes without saying, but just like it's deeper than just clothes, right?
Oh, 1,000%.
And I think that there's like people who, who are kind of outside of that world, right? Because like, they're like, oh, I got to go to the store and pick up like a new shirt for work,
right?
Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I got a wedding, I got to get a new cardigan or whatever. But like, even just in those stories, it's like, yeah, fashion means a lot to people, and it really is transformative in so many different ways.
Yeah, and it's expressive. It's expressive, like for me, like that's to be able to. I say that like your outfit tells a story.
100%. And
anyway, yeah.
I do got to say this real quick, because I for the listeners out there, I brought in a couple pieces, right? I brought in some polo.
Yeah.
And I saw like you posted about the Polo Sport shirt that I gave you.
Yes.
And I was like excited to like see it sell, like if someone buying it.
Yeah.
And my vision is that I'm gonna see somebody wearing it,
right?
And be like, and not even say anything, and be like, "Hey, man, nice shirt." And then just kind of move through.
Yeah.
I have that in my head as a vision for that to come.
I love that.
Now, I should have done this at the top, but for our listeners out there, for our speedy freaks, that's what we call our listeners.
Okay.
Yeah, they're called speedy freaks.
No doubt.
I kind of want to paint the picture of where I am right now, because at the top I said I was in Stellar Human, but if you've never been here, I want to like kind of give the vision of where I am. Is like, first of all, very dope space. You walk in and you see just incredible pieces of clothing from so many different pockets, right? Like I'm looking at like an old Tommy Hilfiger, like I think it's Tommy Hilfiger.
No, it's a FUBU joint.
FUBU. I'm not at an
But
angle,
yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, no.
but it's like a color block from like the 90s.
Yeah.
And then you kind of move into some more like women's wear over here. And in the back, you know, it's just like in the back, you've got some cooler shit popping off. There's a nice mural. I see the Stellar Human mural.
Oh yeah,
going
yeah.
Downstairs.
Yeah.
You know, so like, yeah, it's just like pretty much if you're here, if you're listening, this is like all of the cool shit that you were like, oh wow, they have this out here. It's here, right?
Yeah, 100. So many people have come in, and they're like, I never knew this existed. I didn't, and it's like I feel like even now, a lot of the local people that are from my age, you know, and maybe a little bit from like maybe 27, 28 to like 35,
Sure.
40, that like they probably drive past the shop all the time, but because something that's like this has never existed, they don't know
What's in here. Like, and it's, you know, I'll say this real quick, but like when I first came on Stellar Human, I saw you had like a Binghamton Patriots like basketball jersey.
Yeah.
And I was like, name your price. I want that real bad. So yeah, I mean, it's just, there's so much cool shit that's just on the racks in here. And it's
Thank
really
you, man.
to see you put that together.
I appreciate that.
Now, so let me ask, and I want to get your good answer here, but like, how would you describe your style? How do you describe what you bring to your fashion?
Yo, that's a great question. Eclectic, for sure. I pick based off of my style mostly. You know, there's days where I want to do the 90s hip hop thing and wear some baggy jeans and some Air Force Ones or some Timbs and like an oversized tee, or, you know, just do that whole thing.
Right.
And then there's days where I want to wear a pair of slacks and a tucked in t-shirt. And there's days where I want to wear a pair of bell bottoms and a dagger collared shirt, you know? So I think my ability to kind of go all over the board as far as my style goes kind of gives me an edge on, I mean, I don't want to obviously not ever say that I'm better than anybody else, but it's different for sure.
And it's yours.
And it's mine.
Right? Like it's your own style.
Yeah.
So now with that being said, what is your most favorite piece that you own? What's the one article that you're like, and I'm only going to give you one. I'm not going to be easy on you. I'm going to say you have to pick one.
Okay.
What is like that piece that you have that people are, that you would be like, this is me
right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now I just got it. I haven't been able to wear it yet. I just got a Janet Jackson tour tee.
That's fucking great.
From 94 that I've been wanting for a long time. And this is the beauty of vintage, right? There are things that are worth a certain amount to one person that might not be worth the same amount to another. For instance, this t-shirt that I got, if you go on eBay, it's listed for $300 or more everywhere.
Sure.
But because I was able to find a seller on Whatnot, this app that we were just talking about,
right?
That really didn't have much emotional attachment to it, and probably got it at the Goodwill outlet, the bins.
Sure, right.
For less than $2. You know, I got it for half. I paid $150 for mine. So
that's fucking great, dude.
So like, and before, but I will say this honorable mention before the Janet, it was my Maxwell t-shirt.
Okay.
My Maxwell tee. Oh man.
Well, you know, you may wear it to the Stellar Presents show.
Yeah.
That we have coming up.
I just might do that.
March 23rd. Shows at 7:00.
Yes.
Tickets are on sale on Eventbrite. We're going to put the link in the podcast.
Yes, please. Well. Please, if you can, you know, come. If you get your ticket on the Eventbrite, you will receive 30% off in the shop that night if you want to browse around. So yeah.
That's yes, definitely get out there for that, and we'll be there. Now I kind of want to shift gears
okay.
For just a second here, because you know, we've certainly talked a lot about clothing. And I know at the top of the interview you talked about your passions of music as well.
Yeah.
And you do a really dope event here, Stellar Records.
Yeah.
You do that on Monday nights.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about how that came to be and where it is now.
Okay. So yeah, I think I got the idea. So there's this radio show that I listen to called Selection Radio. Every Sunday, just quick plug for them because they're amazing at what they do. But they've done these like immersive listening experiences, and when I saw those, I was like, damn, that would be really cool to do here. And so I then remembered, okay, well, I got all this vinyl. Why don't we start with like a record night? And then the goal would be to move it into the back where we had like, maybe 30 bean bags and lights and incense burning and, all that good stuff happening. But for now, we're up front Monday night, 7:00. You can bring a record. You can not bring a record. You can, come and we kind of just vibe and
that's dope.
Talk and, just enjoy each other's company and the music that's playing.
So, and first I want to say again, like, as somebody who grew up in Binghamton, like, this is really dope to see. Like, I think, there's a lot of folks who, and I'm hoping or assuming that you're seeing this experience of there's people who live here who come to this and go, I really was looking for something like this because like I can now bring some records that I really love that I want to share with people that are here. You know what I mean?
And me being someone who thought that like I knew all the dope shit already, I'm like, last 3 or 4 months that we've been doing this, like, I'm like, okay, LaRue, you didn't know a damn thing. Like, but as someone, I'm primarily a hip hop head.
Right.
And so samples are like, we also do this thing on Wednesdays called What Sample Wednesday.
Yes.
Where I'll play a record that's been sampled, and then the viewers have to tell me the name of the song, the producer, and the artist that sampled the song that we heard.
This sounds very familiar. I feel like I've seen this from somewhere.
Yes, you do something similar. Yeah,
I do. Yeah, no ideas original. But no, it's great. That's dope to see. And it's funny because I like played for one of them and I was like, you know what? Let me give that out to the crowd. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm not trying to jump in there like that, but that's dope that you're taking even just like from the records, right?
Yeah.
Because, you certainly, I'm looking at like the stacks of records that you have.
Right.
And parlaying that into this like social media engagement for the store.
Right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
That's really, again, I think like in terms of just like culture, you really do bring something unique and very cool, man. So
I appreciate that.
I tip my hat to you again. Now, so then another question is, so we talked about your fashion piece.
Yes.
What's your one record? Because now I'm pointing down because there's probably about, I don't know, like 40 some on records?
Yeah, 40, 50.
What is your... I'll give you 2 records this time because I gave you one. Okay. One item, but what's your go-to record? Because I see you've got some Michael Jackson, Beastie Boys.
Shit, is it here? That's probably not easily accessible. Easily accessible, but I have a Gangstar record in there.
What?
It's a single. It's a single. I think it's Mass Appeal. It's Mass Appeal.
Great.
Yeah.
That's fucking great.
Yeah, that one. And I also, I got the Blueprint.
Yeah.
Jay-Z Blueprint record.
Did I see MF Doom?
I have a Doom record. I have 2 Doom records. One of them is still sealed.
Don't.
Waiting for the
You can't open that. You gotta, I'm a homie. I gotta, in your best, don't ever, I don't care what they try and pay you or what they try and give you, man. Don't open that one. But no, it's yours. Do what you want with it.
Oh, I have a Tribe. I have a Tribe record too that I love. I'm a big Tribe guy. So.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great, man. Now, let me ask you this. And you know, this question gets thrown out a lot. And I think with like folks who are involved in fashion and vintage, but I always feel like it's such a great question.
Mm-hmm.
What is a fashion tip you have for people out there? What's your tip?
So it's funny because I was just thinking about this today as I was getting dressed, and you know, because the way, like, I don't follow trends.
Sure, you set them.
I damn sure don't set them either. I would just say, yeah, fuck trends, right?
Sure.
Do what makes you happy, what makes you confident, what makes you comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's probably the big
takeaway here.
Be yourself. I mean, this is like probably super redundant, and everyone says that, but like, it's true.
Well, I mean, I think to that point, there is a reason why people say that.
Yeah.
It's just like, you gotta, you know, I think it's, Ghostface said it. You have to bring the steez to the outfit. You bring it.
Yeah.
It, you know?
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I've been told so many times, like, oh man, LaRue, I love that your fit. You know, I could never pull that off, I'm like, no, man, you could do it too. I've had so many people come in that will look at a piece that's on the rack and say, I love this, but I don't know how I would style it. To which I say, give me 5 minutes. And I put together a fit for them with this piece that they like.
Right.
And then they go and they're like, wow, I never thought that I never thought that I could pull something like this off, but here I am doing it. Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, they're buying it and taking it home with them. So when we're talking about, again, like memorable moments,
sure,
things like that.
And I think, you know, to that point of just like how much fashion can give you confidence.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, when you find that right outfit, like, no one can tell you shit.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
no.
You know?
No.
There's certainly there's items that I have that I'm just like, yeah.
When you put them on, it's just a feeling, right? It's like,
you know, you got it.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, I definitely, you know, I certainly have my moments where I was just like, oh shit, like this is me. Like I really feel this outfit, and I really feel what I'm about right now. Now I want to jump back to again, where the clothes come from, because I think that's important.
Yes.
Right? Because, you know, there's such a variety in here that I think it would be remiss of us not to say, how does this all come together?
Okay.
You know, because it's a whole separate world outside of just wearing this shit, right? Right.
So when you say, you know, there's the range of stuff, right? So I have pieces from the 40s all the way up to, you know, I mean, I have some pieces that are modern. You know, I call a shop a vintage shop. You know, any true vintage head might say that it's not, because not everything in the shop is vintage.
Right.
But 90% of the stuff in here is vintage. And by definition, for anyone who doesn't know, vintage is anything that's 20 years or older.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that was.
So this year, anything from 2004.
Oh, I don't want to hear that, LaRue. We're about to cut the interview short because I was a adult then. But go on. So,
okay.
So 2004.
Yeah.
God damn.
You got a T-shirt that says, you know, like for instance, a Gus Macker tee from 2004.
Yeah.
That shirt is vintage now.
Wow. Holy shit.
And so now to talk about where I sourced the pieces from. And it's funny that you asked that question, because just yesterday I had posted a reel on our Instagram page of me down the street from the shop is a Salvation Army.
Sure.
Yeah. And early on, I was there every day sourcing, buying stuff, you know, and at this time, like I said before, my knowledge for vintage was really low. I was really just buying stuff that I thought was cool, whether it was vintage or not. However, as time went on and my knowledge got bigger and my eye got sharper, I was like, okay, now I'm like, and I've really been trying to be more, intentional with what I'm buying for the shop.
Sure.
There was a time where I was buying shit just because it was vintage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is this vintage? Oh, I gotta buy it. But like now it's like, okay, it's vintage, but is someone gonna fucking wear it?
Right.
Can it be styled multiple ways? Because that's I just had a group of kids come in the other day, and it's like, okay, we want multiple functional pieces, right? Things that can be styled many different ways,
right,
and be worn. Because this whole thing about you can only wear something one time, that one wear shit is.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That well, I can't afford that lifestyle. I don't know who out there.
And I mean, and even and it's like the stuff that you do that with, like, you know, let's talk about fast fashion real quick.
Sure, yeah.
Note, fast fashion, that all that shit, you really only can wear it one time. Maybe so once, maybe twice.
Listeners, tell us a little bit. What is fast fashion?
All right, so fast fashion is going to be these websites like Shein or ASOS or
okay.
even H&M and Forever 21. Like, these are all fast fashion brands. I know that some of them have kind of stepped their game up in regards to sustainability, but you know, with Shein especially, like that shit, you wear it you wash it, dry it one time, you're not getting the same garment back that you got when it came in the mail. It's a completely different thing. So I digress. Back to where we get the pieces from. So, like I said, being that we've had the shop for 3 years now, I've been able to kind of, you know, I do say there's a sign outside that says will buy your old clothes. So people bring me stuff.
Right.
I've been really lucky to form relationships with people who do house cleanouts and estate sales.
Right.
And so they'll call me when they get out, like, you know, hoarder houses that filled with clothes. You know what I'm saying? And
just wanted to jump in. If any polo, let me know.
Bro, I got you, kid. So it's like, and for me, going in and picking, like, that's the real fun.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like it's almost like kind of you were saying, like, about records. It's like digging in the crates, like when you go look for records.
Yep.
Right? It's the hunt. Right?
Yes.
It's the holy shit. I can't believe I just found this.
Okay. Yes. And now, can I give you my biggest holy shit moment?
Sure. Well, I
got a friend doing a clean out in Deposit.
Okay.
Deposit, New York. And, he's got it's a house with a barn.
Okay.
And, he calls me, man, I need help with this house. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I got you. But, you know, any clothes that we find, they're mine.
Sure.
He's like, yeah, whatever. Come on. So we get out there and we're in the barn and I'm helping him move all this, you know, heavy wood and shit. Next thing you know, we're in this one little side room and there's a box.
Right.
And he pulls the box out and, opens it up and I see denim.
Shit.
And so we pull what's in there out and there's 3 pairs of jeans. 2 of them are going to be from the 1940s.
Shit.
Yes. And they're in good condition. They're wearable. I've since sold all 3 of these pair of jeans, but this 3rd pair is very special.
That's crazy.
The 3rd pair of jeans were a pair of 1937 model cinchback Levi's.
Jesus Christ.
They call them in the biz Big E.
Big E.
Big E's. Because on the red tab on the back of if you have Levi's, you know that there's the red tab on the back pocket.
Sure.
And most of them have a lowercase e for the word spelled out Levi's.
Right.
But for a period of time, they use a capital E.
So it was like lowercase capital E.
I think it was a capital L, capital E,
lowercase V, lowercase,
and so on.
Got it. Okay.
And so these jeans, I'll never forget. I tried them on right away in the barn, like legit, like, and they fit.
I was gonna say they fit.
They fit. They were cropped at the bottom, so where they were probably like maybe a 30 or 32 length at one time, they were really just like a 27. Which kind of sucked, but they still looked cool, like say with a pair of Chucks, you know what I mean, or
Sure,
whatever. So, needless to say, like, and if you know, those Levi's can sell for thousands of dollars.
I was gonna say, man, like some like 40s jeans.
Yeah,
To a fashion head, you're gonna get some money.
Yeah, and I mean the Japanese, like I've had Japanese buyers come in every now and then. These guys will travel from Japan, make their rounds in the States, and go to. And they'll go mostly to the thrift stores, but I've had a couple that will come here, and I've sold Pendletons. This guy one time came in looking for Pendletons, loop collar Pendletons to be exact. Now loop collar is the one that is a flannel, but the very top button, instead of a button hole, it has a loop.
Yep. Yeah.
You knew this already.
Yeah.
So, and those are from the 50s.
Right.
So he bought up all my loop collars. But yeah, I was able to sell these 1937 Levi's. I kept them for a couple years, wore them a few times, got my love out of them, and then sent them on their way over to China. They're being loved and enjoyed.
That's and it's funny. So funny you say that, because I have to I think I have to start doing that. Just like there's some pieces I've had for so long, it's just like it's time to go.
It's that Marie Kondo thing, right? Does it bring me joy? Do I really need it? But like, I don't know. It's like, damn, I could wear this again,
Yeah. It's obviously different for different folks.
For sure.
But listen, LaRue, I want to first off say thank you so much for taking the time for hanging with us here at Understanding Upstate, the podcast.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to plug before we go?
I just want to reiterate that we got our show coming up here in a few weeks. I know that it might be a little confusing because we said it is here at the shop. I have extra space in the back of the store that we're going to be, getting ready, and I can't wait. I've done shows in the past. I've had concerts back there. We've done poetry, but never comedy. So I'm really excited to have Jim come and do his thing along with, his guests that he's got coming. Stephen Brown
hosting. Abdul Adi is going to do a set as well. He's a comic out of Syracuse.
Yes.
Very funny dude.
And then we just added the guy, Matt.
Your boy coming through.
Yeah.
Do some music.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to have a great show, man. So, again, thank you, LaRue, for hanging. And listeners, speedy freaks out there.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace.
Jim, you're a great interviewer. Great conversation. What were some of your highlights from talking with LaRue?
I think one of the biggest highlights for me is how important clothes are, right? And how they really are so much part of our identities. And I think a lot of people who just kind of all right, I just got to go. And I talk about this a little bit in the interview as well, about how some people are I just got to get a couple shirts for work or whatever. And it's actually, clothes really mean something to people. And, what LaRue did and is continuing to do with vintage clothing, with fashion in Binghamton is very cool. And it's, and I think it's helping people, and we often don't think of fashion as a way of helping people, but in actuality, for a lot of people, it does. And I think that to me is probably that's the biggest takeaway for me. And the second was just, how he's branching out and doing things organically, like he's got a Stellar Records night Monday nights. And, that kind of is a whole other launching place for his brand of Stellar Human. is like an event where people come, they bring records that they want to listen to, that they would love for people to hear. There's people who don't bring any records and they just like to come to hang. And you know, I think that's really incredible. And to have it happen in the city where I'm from, you know, to top all of that off.
Not just having a store, but like fostering community.
Yes. And that's one thing that he really does emphasize is the human connection, right? Like he's very big on that. And you see that in his work and the people who are patrons there. So
it's in the name of the store.
Be a stellar human, man.
When we were first kind of pitching the idea of this podcast to each other, I remember one of the things that was important to you that you brought to the idea of this podcast was to be able to highlight actual people who are currently doing things upstate to foster community and push things forward. And I'm really glad that that LaRue's our first kind of our first showcase episode, I guess, for highlighting that work. And thank you for
absolutely
making sure we do that. And thanks for bringing such a cool guest to our podcast and to our Speedy Freaks, Jim.
Yes, it's almost like I'm a stellar human.
Oh my God. Well, on that note, what stellar topic do we have for our Speedy Freaks next week?
Well, what I can say as regards to next week is you're really going to fuel up with what we've got in store.
I like it. You know what I also like?
What's that?
I like your comedy album, and not just because I produced it. Can you remind everyone where they can pick up a copy of that? And also maybe pick up tickets to an upcoming comedy show at a place that we've not talked about at length on this episode.
Well, check this out. There's now 2 places you can pick up the album, right? First is, of course, jimsearch.bandcamp.com. That is where you can get Upstate Understandings, my debut comedy album, as Rob mentioned, produced by him. And also, you can pick up the album at Stellar Human. It is available for sale at the store. So you can go in there, pick it up, buy it. You can Venmo me directly. You can pay me out for the album directly from the store. So go in there, pick up some cool shit, pick up some cool clothes, pick up an album. You'll be doing the Lord's work on that front. And also, March 23rd, Stellar Presents is the comedy show that is going to rock the 607. Stephen Brown is going to host it. Abduladi is going to be featuring. I'm going to headline. There's going to be some music acts as well. It's going to be a great time. You can pick up tickets. We'll throw the link in the bio, or in the bio. We'll throw the link in the comments, the notes. We'll throw the link everywhere. We'll throw it under the kitchen sink. We'll throw it under your car. Wherever you are looking for a link to buy tickets to Stellar Presents, you'll be able to find it there. Come out for that March 23rd. Show, doors are at 6:30, shows at 7. If you buy tickets from Eventbrite, you get 30% off in the store the night of the show. So don't get better than that.
Pretty
now. Good. Yeah, it's fucking great. But also go to jimsearchcomedy.com and, you can follow me on all social media at jimsearch. I'm a great follow. I put up a lot of shit about grocery stores and shit like that. So I'm worth following. Rob, they've done everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have bought my album. They've gone to Stellar Human. They've picked up a dope color block Tommy Hilfiger jacket. They feel great.
Love it.
Let's say they wanted music to kind of continue the audio journey. Do you have any music recommendations for them?
You're wearing your color block, Tommy. You're waiting for the bus at Port Authority and you need something to get you to Binghamton because it's the 22nd and you're going to go to his show on the 23rd. You're going to pick up my album called New York Sticky. You're going to have to listen to it like 4 times, but you're going to enjoy it on the way to Binghamton over and over. It's an instrumental album. It's great. It's good background music. It's great hanging out music. You can grab it at brokenfrequency.bandcamp.com. After you've grabbed that, again, the guy behind you is talking about his long rap sheet on the bus. You need something else to do. You're going to go subscribe, rate, and review our show. Preferably on Apple Podcasts. Throw a 5-star review on there, and if you know some other stellar humans that we should talk about who are doing cool things in Upstate, you can throw in some recommendations in that review, and we just might talk about them, or again any other Upstate topic you think might be interesting for us to cover. Jim, having said all that, we gotta wrap this puppy up. I got a way to do that. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go get it.
Everybody better pick up a ticket to Jim's show at Stellar Human. I'll see you next week.
Understanding Upstate is a podcast hosted by Jim Search and Rob Adler, edited by Rob Adler, and music from Regal Monk.